Imagine for a second that you are holding a winning lottery ticket.
Mm-hmm.
It's right there in your hand. And it promises to solve all your biggest problems, where you live, your career, your family's future. It's shiny, it's real, and it's yours.
Okay.
But there's a catch. To cash it in, you have to walk through this one specific door, and that door is locked. And there are like 10,000 other people standing outside with you, and the person with the key only unlocks it for maybe 20 minutes, once or twice a year.
Wow. That's a visceral and honestly a pretty terrifying way to put it. But you know what? It's a perfect metaphor for what we're looking at today.
It sounds like some kind of dystopian game show, but it's actually the state of Canadian immigration right now. Today, we are doing a deep dive into what I'm calling the race for care, specifically the home care worker immigration pilots. We've gone through a huge stack of documents and updates from Dara Immigration Services, the very latest stuff for 2026, and they paint a picture that is, it's equal parts hopeful and incredibly frustrating.
It's a massive contradiction, isn't it? Canada is desperate. Absolutely desperate for caregivers. We need people to look after our kids so parents can work, and we need people to help our aging parents. The need is there.
Right.
But the system to get those qualified people into the country has become this high-stakes bottleneck.
And that's our mission for this deep dive. We aren't just going to read the rules. We're going to unpack the strategy. We'll look at why this golden ticket even exists, why the rules shifted so dramatically back in 2024, and most importantly, how you actually get through that door when it briefly cracks open.
Because if you look at the program status right now, today, January 22, 2026.
It's paused.
It's paused. The sign in the window says help wanted, but the door is bolted shut. New intake is frozen to deal with the backlog. So if you're listening to this, you're basically in the locker room preparing for the big game. And if you aren't prepared with what the source calls military-grade precision.
I love that phrase, military-grade preparation.
You've already lost before the game even starts.
Let's start with the prize, though. Why is everyone fighting so hard for this one specific stream? Because for a long time, coming to Canada as a caregiver was just a grind. It was the old live-in caregiver program, the LCP.
The LCP was, it was good for employers, I guess, but it was really tough on the workers. The old model was a prove-it model. You came in on a temporary work permit, your status was tied to one employer, and you often had to live in their house.
So you were basically on probation for 2 years.
Exactly. For 2 years before you could even ask for permanent residence.
Which just creates a horrible power dynamic. If your boss is difficult or, stops paying you, you're terrified to quit because your entire visa is tied to them.
It was a vulnerability trap. But the sources from Dara Immigration really highlight this massive paradigm shift that happened around mid-2024. The government moved to a direct PR model.
Direct permanent residence. That is the game changer.
It changes everything. Now, under these pilots, applicants land at the airport, Pearson, wherever, and they are processed as permanent residents from day one. There is no 2-year trial run. You have the same rights, the same labor protections, and the same stability as any other PR. You aren't tied to the employer for your status.
Only for your paycheck.
Only for your paycheck, exactly.
And it's not just for the worker, right? This was the other detail that jumped out at me. It solves that whole family separation problem.
That is a huge point. Under the old systems, you'd have caregivers here in Canada sending money home, but not seeing their own kids for 3, 4, maybe 5 years while the paperwork processed. It was heartbreaking.
I can't even imagine.
But this new pathway allows for concurrent processing.
So the spouse and the kids get their PR at the exact same time.
Correct. The whole family unit moves together. It's not a job placement anymore. It's a family settlement plan.
Which explains why the demand is just through the roof. You're offering a direct path to a new life for an entire family. But, and there's always a but, in immigration, we need to be really precise about who this is for.
Very precise.
Because I think people hear caregivers, and a lot of different roles come to mind. But the government is pretty rigid here.
Oh, very rigid. You can't just define care however you want. We're dealing with 2 distinct pilot streams, and they are defined by their National Occupational Classification Codes, their NOC codes.
All right, let's break them down.
First, you have the Home Child Care Provider pilot. That's NOC code 44100. This is your classic nanny role. You're caring for children under 18.
Okay, so 44100 is for the kids. Simple enough.
Then you have the Home Support Worker pilot, which is NOC 44101. This is for caregivers looking after seniors or people with disabilities, so helping with feeding, dressing, personal care.
Nannies and elder care.
Got it.
Now, I saw a specific warning in the Dara immigration notes about what doesn't count. Because there's another category people get confused with, right?
Yes, and this is a heartbreak waiting to happen if you get it wrong. The sources are so explicit, housekeepers are excluded. That's NOC 44102.
So if your job is mostly cleaning, cooking, laundry, you're not actually providing personal care to a person.
You are out. You cannot hire someone to clean your house and try to, sneak them in under the caregiver pilot. A visa officer will look at the job duties. If the main duty is housekeeping, the application gets rejected. It has to be care-focused.
That is a crucial distinction. Okay, let's bust a myth. The live-in requirement. I still hear people say, oh, I'd love to hire a nanny, but I don't have a spare room.
We can officially put that one to bed. The live-in requirement was abolished years ago. The sources emphasize this. You can live with the employer if you both agree, but it is absolutely not mandatory.
Which is great for autonomy. You can have your own life, your own apartment.
Exactly. Although, with rents in Toronto or Vancouver, some caregivers actually prefer the live-in option to save money. But the key is, the government doesn't force it anymore.
Okay, so let's recap. We have a program that offers PR on arrival, brings your family, doesn't force you to live at work, and it covers nannies and elder care. It sounds incredibly accessible.
And that is the paradox. That is exactly why we're in the situation we are in today.
The paradox being, because it's easy to qualify, it's almost impossible to get in.
Precisely. The barriers to entry, the actual requirements, are surprisingly low. But because they're low, the competition is just astronomically high. It's a funnel where 10,000 people are trying to squeeze through a hole the size of a tennis ball.
Let's walk through that checklist then. What does it actually take? Let's start with education.
This one is one of the biggest surprises. You need a high school diploma.
Just high school, not a nursing degree or an early childhood education certificate.
Just high school. Now, if it's a foreign diploma, you need an educational credential assessment, an ECA, to prove it's equivalent to a Canadian one. But yeah, it's not a master's degree.
That opens the pool to millions.
Yeah.
What about language? That's usually the big gatekeeper.
Well, here the requirement is only CLB4 for English or NCLC4 for French.
For anyone who doesn't speak immigration bureaucracy, context is key. A lot of economic programs want CLB7 or higher, right?
Right. CLB7 is like professional proficiency. You can work in an office. CLD4, that's basic proficiency. It's enough to communicate daily needs, handle safety tasks. It is not fluency.
So again, the barrier is lowered. And experience. Do you need Canadian work experience?
Not anymore. That strict 12 months of Canadian experience rule was removed for the specific PR on arrival stream. You just need relevant experience or training to show you can actually do the job. So if you were a nanny in Hong Kong or Dubai, you're qualified.
Okay, so you're qualified. But you can't just apply on your own. You need the catalyst, the job offer.
The linchpin. You cannot move forward without a genuine job offer from a Canadian employer. And this is where the notes from Dara Immigration get really specific about the employer advantage.
Because usually hiring a foreigner is a total nightmare for a Canadian family.
It's a bureaucratic festival. Normally, well, an employer needs an LMIA, a labor market impact assessment. They have to pay $1,000, advertise the job for a month, and prove to the government that no Canadian wanted that job. It takes months.
And for this pilot?
For this pilot, no LMIA required.
That is huge. That just removed the biggest headache for the employer.
It does. It means a regular family can hire someone without being an HR expert. And the 2026 update in our sources says they've now added flexibility so some designated care organizations can be employers too.
So not just the Smith family, but maybe Smith Care Services.
In certain cases, yes. But, and the source notes this, jobs from embassies or high commissions are out. You can't go work for a diplomat under this stream.
Okay. Low education, basic language, no Canadian experience, no LMIA for the boss. It sounds too good to be true. And when things in immigration sound too good to be true, the catch is usually math.
The catch is absolutely the math. And we're back to that cold shower reality. Because the program is so attractive, the caps fill up instantly.
Let's talk about the cap. This isn't like applying to university with a deadline. This is first come, first served.
Strictly first come, first served. IRCC sets a number of applications they'll accept. Once that number is hit, the online portal just closes. It literally stops accepting uploads.
So it doesn't matter if you're halfway through uploading your passport.
Doesn't matter. If the counter hits 0, you are done for the year.
And how fast does it happen?
In 2025, the cap was reached in less than a day. In some categories, we're talking about a matter of hours.
Hours. So you could have a job offer, all your forms ready, the window opens at 9 a.m., and if you haven't clicked submit by noon, you might be out of luck for another whole year.
That is a reality. It creates this absolute frenzy. Just imagine thousands of people all over the world, all refreshing their browsers, trying to upload these huge PDF files at the same moment.
It's like trying to buy Taylor Swift tickets. But instead of a concert, you're fighting for your family's future.
It's a great analogy. And just like with concert tickets, if you're scrambling to find your credit card when the sale starts, you have already lost. This is where Dara immigration stresses being submission ready.
Submission ready. Okay, what does that actually look like in practice?
It means your application is sitting on your desktop, fully complete, weeks or even months before the window opens. You are not waiting for the announcement to start the work.
Okay, break it down for me. What's in that digital folder?
Step 1, the job offer. You need Form IMM 5983, and it needs to be signed. But more than that, the employer needs to give you proof they can actually pay you.
People forget this part. The employer has to show their financials.
Yes, usually their notice of assessment. You cannot be chasing your future boss for their tax forms on launch day. That needs to be on your desktop, ready to go.
Okay. Step 2.
Credentials.
Your language tests, CELFIP or IELTS, need to be done, result in hand. Your ECA needs to be finished. The source warns that the ECA alone can take 2 months. If you haven't ordered it yet, you aren't applying in the next window.
And then all the scams. This is where I feel like the tech issues could just kill you. It's the silent killer. Step 3 is digital prep. You need high-quality scans of everything. Passports, birth certificates, police certificates from every country you've lived in since you were 18. And the main application form, IMM 0008, has to be drafted and validated.
Validated.
You know when you fill out one of those government PDFs and hit validate and it generates those weird barcodes?
All right.
You need that done. The goal is the second that portal opens, you are just clicking upload, 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 submit.
You're minimizing the time on page.
Exactly. Because the biggest risk here isn't getting a refusal. The biggest risk is inaccessibility. The risk is you never even get your file seen because you couldn't click submit fast enough.
That's wild that your internet speed is a deciding factor.
Yeah.
Okay, aside from the race, what are the other traps? What if someone tries to cut corners?
That brings us to the fake job trap, and the experts warn about this loudly. Because there's no LMIA, it's tempting for people to just ask a relative to hire them.
Like, hey, auntie, sign this paper so I can get PR, but I'm not actually going to take care of you.
Exactly. I'll just go work at Tim Hortons, but on paper, I'm your caregiver. IRCC is not stupid. They audit these. They look at the relationship. Does the aunt actually need a full-time caregiver?
And if they catch you?
It's misrepresentation. And that is not just a rejection letter. It's a 5-year ban from entering Canada. It destroys your credibility forever. It is not worth the risk.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
What about the cost of doing it right? Is this an expensive process?
It's moderate, but it adds up. For the main applicant, the government fees are around $1,085 Canadian. That covers processing and the right of permanent residence fee.
Right, for the family.
Add another $1,085 for a spouse, about $230 for each kid, plus an $85 biometrics fee per person. But the big number people forget is settlement funds.
Ah, right, proof of funds. You have to prove you have savings to support yourself when you land.
Exactly. You need to show cash in the bank. The amount changes every year based on family size, but you need that money sitting there ready to be proven with a bank letter. You can't land with empty pockets.
So let's zoom out. It's January 2026. The program is paused. The competition is insane. We don't know when it reopens. If I'm a listener, what do I do? Just sit and wait?
The source is very clear on this. Do not just wait. Relying on an unpredictable reopening date is a bad strategy. You have to diversify.
So what are the alternatives? If the front door is locked, is there a side door?
The first place to look is provincial nominee programs, PNPs.
So these are run by the provinces themselves, not the federal government.
Correct. Provinces like Nova Scotia or Ontario often have their own caregiver-specific streams. They might have different criteria, or their intake windows might be open even when the federal one is closed.
It's a parallel track.
It is. It might involve a few extra steps, but it can get you to the same place. Permanent residence.
That's smart. Okay, but what if you just can't wait for PR? The family needs you in Canada now. Can you get a regular work permit?
You can, but it's much harder. You'd have to apply for a standard work permit under the Temporary Foreign Worker Program.
And that brings us right back to the dreaded LMIA.
It does. To go that route, your employer would need to get that labor market impact assessment. It's more paperwork for them, more cost, and this is crucial, it does not grant you automatic PR.
So you're back to that old model. Temporary status tied to one employer.
Yes. But If getting to Canada quickly is the top priority, it's an option. It gets your foot in the door.
There's also a bit of a rumor in the notes about the future of this whole program. These are pilots, which means temporary. What happens next?
That is the million-dollar question. The current pilots are set to expire or change. There is a strong indication from IRCC that they're looking to launch a permanent caregiver program to replace these.
So the pause we're in right now might actually be a transition period.
It's very likely they could be retooling the whole system, which is why having your documents ready, that submission-ready stance, is vital no matter what.
Because if a new program drops tomorrow, the core documents, language tests, ECAs, police records will probably still be the same.
Exactly. You want to be the first one ready to apply to that new program, too. You don't want to be starting from scratch when the news breaks.
It really feels like modern immigration has shifted. It used to be just about, are you qualified? Now it feels like it's about, are you organized? And are you fast?
It's a combination of merit and logistics. You can be the best caregiver in the world, you could be Mary Poppins, but if your PDF isn't scanned clearly or your internet lags at the wrong moment, you miss the boat.
Which leads me to a final thought for everyone today. We spend so much time debating the skills of immigrants. Do they have the right degrees? Do they speak the language? But in a system like this, where the cap is hit in a few hours, are we moving toward a world where the deciding factor for citizenship isn't just merit, but literally your internet connection speed and your time zone?
That is a provocative question. When the race is that tight, infrastructure becomes the filter. It turns immigration into a ticket drop.
Something to think about while you get those documents scanned.
Yeah.
Huge thanks to Dara Immigration Services for all the source material on this one. It's a complex landscape.
Stay informed, stay prepared, and good luck.
We'll see you in the next deep dive.